Okay. We're going to be hosting a call once a month for Emeralds and above. And this is really just, clearly once you hit, the Emerald rank, you're starting to build your team and really looking to, grow your business. So as kind of an incentive, we as the leadership team are going to start hosting these calls for the entire Persevere organization for Emeralds and above. And it's just kind of a way to give them extra access to the leaders and what they're doing to be successful and how to continue to grow their business. And, we'll have, topics to talk about on the calls, but we'll do it once a month. And so as you continue to advance in your rank within your business, then you'll be able to hop onto those, with us as well. And so mark that on your calendar and, put it in there so you know that it's there. The second thing is Beachbody Cup. I talked a little bit about this last week, but I highly encourage every single one of you to get on a Team Cup team. We'll be working to put teams together. But if maybe you've already started building a relationship with some of the coaches on the team and you guys kind of know who you want to be on your team and what you want to do, then that's awesome. You guys can select a team leader and get registered. If you're not on a team or you don't have a leader as of right now, then that's kind of what we'll do. We'll pair you up. You get 5 people on a team. You can only have 1 diamond or above. And so it's just a great way to really grow your business. I can't say enough about it. It's not anything extra than what you're already doing. It's just the 3 vital behaviors amped up, and just a way to really grow and earn free prizes. And who doesn't love free stuff? We've had coaches that have advanced in like huge ranks from Emerald to Diamond. We've had coaches advance from Coach to Emerald. And so it's just a great fellowship, as well as like team bonding activity. It lets you build relationships with other coaches on the team, especially if you aren't in an area like Kansas City or Dallas or Oregon where we have a large team of Persevere coaches. And so I highly suggest, if you're like questioning or concerned or wondering if maybe it's for you, don't question, just put your name out there and just kind of jump all in and go for it, because what do you have to lose, honestly? So that's all I have for right now on the PowerPoint slide. I'll come back to that in just a little bit. I'm really going to encourage you guys tonight to do some active listening. I know that I always say take notes, but I want you guys to really just take in everything I'm going to go over tonight, and then go back and re-listen and take notes and grab anything that you may have missed. So I've been really kind of diving into my personal development, and I was sharing with some of the girls on the leadership team earlier that I've been reading The Purpose-Driven Life. I'm on day 34, I think. So I'm almost finished. It's a 40-day journey, and really just kind of finding out, my purpose and what it is and how I can better serve others. And so you guys know that one of my biggest things on this team is always to lead with a servant's heart, and just really be open to know that, if you came into this business to, get rich quick, or to, really just make all the money in the world, then I'm going to be honest and say that you're probably in the wrong business. If that's what's driving you, money's great, but the driving force behind the success in this business has got to be about people, and it's got to be about helping people. And if you can just help one person, then, you're doing something right. And I know sometimes we are so, really I don't know the word, defeated if we feel like, or we're comparing ourselves, or, thinking that we need to conform a certain way, when really it's just about, figuring out how you can serve others in the best way possible. And so it's funny that when I really started to prepare for this call, it kind of aligned with the purposes that I was reading for the past couple days. For me, obviously, you guys, I'm strong in my faith, and it was kind of one of those aha moments, all right, I see you, you're putting it in front of me with what I'm, talking about. and trying to figure out how to, best lead you guys. And so it just made sense. I know that when we get into talking with people, it can be very easy to just take off, follow the scripts, copy and paste, and just go that way. But in talking with a lot of coaches recently and really diving below the surface on what they've been doing, what their conversations have been looking like, I realized that there is a lack of training in the inviting process and really learning what that looks like, how it's not just about copying and pasting the script, how it's about really learning how to peel back those layers of the onion, and that onion being the person that you're talking to. And so there's a finesse behind it. And if you're skipping the interviewing process in your conversations with potential clients or challengers or coaches, then it's crucial. You can totally have success in this business and not be skilled in that area. But number one, you're going to have to talk to a million more people, and number two, your closing rate's probably going to be anywhere from like 1% to 3%. So if you're taking a look at yourself and you're really thinking, like I said, and active listening to what I'm saying, and if you're kind of going, well, that's kind of how I feel, like I don't feel like I'm able to get a lot of challengers, I feel like I'm stuck somewhere, like there's something lacking, then we need to take a look at what your process looks like in talking to them. When I really truly started to hone in on peeling back those layers and becoming an interviewer, my success rate as far as getting challengers into my challenge group grew to 70-80%. And now when I have conversations with people, because I'm spending more time listening than talking, I have more people saying yes. And so I say that because it happens to all of us, and I'm going to go into a little bit more about that later, about how we all go down the road and have done it. I meant to pull up some past messages for you guys to see that we've all done the Beachbody vomit. We've all gotten super excited about what it is that we're talking about and feel like we need to tell them everything and anything, and being the person that's doing the most talking. And so when you have someone that's interested, when they either comment on your status or when you send maybe a hey girl message and it goes back and forth and they come back and say they're interested in their challenge group, your number one question, if they say, yeah, send me some more information, should not be to copy and paste that step number 2 and send it all to them. That should never be your first step. Your first step should always be asking them a question like, hey, that's awesome. I'd love to send you some more information. What piques your interest about that? But you don't stop there. It's not that they come back, well, I want to lose weight, and then you send them everything that goes on in the challenge group. You really want to start, like I said, peeling back those layers. And on my script, I have that on there where it says go back and forth. But I think so many people look at that and they just skip over that and go right to the next part. Like, hey, I asked them a question. I asked what their goals are. Now I'm just going to tell them everything about the challenge group. And so if you're looking at what you're doing and you're going, well, that's not working, or I'm not having success with that, then that's what I mean by going back and forth. I call it my step 1.5. Because I normally go back and forth with someone, sometimes 3 or 4 times, really diving below the surface and figuring out what it is. So once you ask them what piques their interest, now you're starting to ask the questions. Well, what kind of things have you tried before? What's worked for you? What hasn't worked for you? How's your nutrition going? Maybe they're saying, oh, I do great, but I really struggle with cravings. Oh, really? What kind of craving? Oh, chocolate or sugar or candy. In your mind, you're going ding, ding, ding. Shakeology helps with sugar cravings and, getting their vegetables in. That does not mean you're going to immediately send them something and say, hey, guess what? Shakeology is great. This is why you should do it. No, okay? You're going to, continue to ask the questions. The person that is asking the most questions is the person that's going to control the conversation. And so if you start unloading all of that information on them, then you're going to lose them. You want to ask about things like injuries. You don't want to recommend a program to them if they've had some sort of problem, but you won't know that unless you ask them. So I'm not going to recommend Insanity Max 30 to someone who's telling me that they have problems with their knees. But I'm not going to know that they've had problems with their knees or that they've had surgery unless I ask them. This is also where it's kind of important to be familiar with what programs we offer. I know that we all have a tendency to jump to the 21-day fix. and that's great. And I'm not saying that it's not the right fit for them, but you want to make sure that you're asking those questions so that you know for sure. Am I still probably going to recommend 21 Day Fix? Absolutely. But I want to be, 100% positive that it's going to be the right program to help them be successful. Hey, and so then that's where, asking questions like what kind of exercises they like. Do they like lifting? Do they hate lifting? Do they have 2 left feet? Obviously, I'm not going to recommend size to them if they're telling me that they have 2 left feet and have absolutely no coordination. You don't want to set them up for failure before they've even started. So 80% of your process of, people and having those conversations should be right here in the interview process. You should spend 80% of the time listening to them and finding out information and peeling back those layers before you ever send any sort of information about what a challenge group is, or going from, you don't ever want to be a beggar or a vomiter. We don't ever need to beg someone to be in our challenge groups. Like, you should never. And if you're feeling like that, then you need to take a step back and reevaluate what it is that you're saying or what it is that you're doing, because you have value in yourself. And so, when you take that position of the interviewer and you start asking those questions, then that's kind of where you go from an amateur to a pro, and now you're a professional. Every profession that you go, whether it's, you're not going to go to an OBGYN or your pediatric doctor without asking them a whole bunch of questions to figure out if they're a right fit for you. So why then would we not do the same thing with our potential challengers? Why would we not want to ask all of those questions to make sure that they are the right fit for us? Because here's the great thing about what you guys are doing. You have the ability to choose who goes in your challenge groups. You have the ability to choose who you get to work with. So if you're having a conversation, and I'll be honest, there's times where I've had conversations with people where I can tell it's just not going to be the right fit for them or the right fit for me. And so I'm going to try and help them figure out something that's going to work best for them. And so, just making sure that you're really, diving in and asking those questions. So once you get to that part, maybe asking, then asking about their nutrition. So many people will say, yeah, that they've got the nutrition part down. But then you kind of ask them what their day looks like, and they say, oh, they had a carb for breakfast, they had a carb and protein for lunch, and they had a carb and protein for dinner. And nowhere in there did they say that they had any vegetables. And so you don't have to be a nutrition expert to understand that. You know that we have the guides. You guys have done enough of the programs to understand kind of what a typical day should look like. So obviously, if they're saying they're struggling with getting their vegetables in, again, in your head, you're knowing that you have the answer to that. Doesn't mean I'm going to automatically start spewing everything and anything about Shakeology right then and there, but you now have a tool to lay it all out in front of them. And so I'm going to give you guys an actual, and I printed it off to show you. And again, like I said, I want you to just really be active listening. I'm going to post it in the group. But I'm going to give you an active interview question. Basically, it's like an interview of what your questions should look like when you're talking to someone. So like I said, talking about, kind of what they've done before, what their nutrition's looked like, how they feel about themselves. You really want to take them from this negative place. And a lot of times that's the first place people are going to go. If you ask them what they feel about themselves or what they see when they look in the mirror, they're going to come at you with some negative answers. And so the goal is to really take them from that negative place and then bring them into this positive light of how we can help them. And you guys, by doing that, you're giving them hope. Like, that's the most important thing. That's what people want, is they want hope to know that they can get through it and they can become out on the other end a better person. But you're not going to know that unless you really start diving in to figure out what their issues are, because we all have issues. And so, that's why I ask questions like, what do you want to see when you look in the mirror, or how does it make you feel? And sometimes that can be tough for people to answer. And so, like I said, you're giving them the power, and that power is you. You are the tool. Anybody can go do a fitness program. Anybody can go, do nutrition, but you are the guiding force to help them be successful. And so I'm going to share my screen again really quick. So you guys have all obviously heard me talk about form before when interviewing someone, but I don't think enough people talk about sign, which is really, figuring out what their strengths are. And I spelled strengths wrong. That's going to drive me nuts. Figuring out what their interests are, their goals and their needs. These two acronyms should be in every single conversation that you're having. So if you're already talking about their family and their occupation and what they're doing, then start incorporating how you can figure out what are their strengths, what are the things that they're good at. Maybe they're good at exercising, but they suck at nutrition. Figuring out what their interests are, what kind of things do they like? Do they like lifting? Do they hate lifting? And really what their goals are. And so the power of us in that community is huge. Like having that support is really what's going to help them be successful. And so a lot of times when we have new coaches, the first thing that we have you guys do is we have you dream and we have you visualize about what success looks like to you and what you want out of it. So why would we not do the same thing with our challengers? Why would we not have them visualize what they want in the 21 days or what they want the next year? Why would we not have them do that? Why would we not want them to feel the same things that we feel as coaches? And so people base their decisions off of either negative experiences or positive experiences. It's typically one or the other. You're going to look into a fitness program because of how you feel, like in a negative way, or you're going to go buy a car because you're super excited. So you're either one or the other. And so by doing this, by, really peeling back those layers, by, digging deep and having these conversations with them, you start them in this bad place and you really work them up into this, opposite end of the spectrum of being positive. And so you're not going to know these things unless you ask. So then we want to get them on the yes roll. We've now got them, we have the emotion. People base their decisions off of emotion. We've got them, telling me what they want. So now I'm asking them questions. Great closers ask a lot of questions. The more you get them to answer or say yes, the more likely they're going to say yes in the end. So I'm going back and I'm talking about their goals. So you're telling me that you want to lose 30 pounds in the next 90 days, right? They're going to come back and say, yes, that's my goal. That's what I'd like to do. But, I really want to focus on being healthy too. All right. And so you're telling me that with your crazy schedule and the kids and your work, you only have 30 minutes a day, right? Yes. I only have 30 minutes a day. I've got to travel. I travel in the car 2 hours plus work and the kids' activities. Okay. I've gotten them to say yes several times. You want them to already have come to the conclusion that they are going to have the tools that they need. You're just going to give them that package right in front of them. So you've gotten them to say yes. You've gotten them to see what it is that they need to do. Now you're going to give them that tool to be successful. So it's all about empathizing and, getting them on that role, understanding what their problem is, digging through their pain, and avoiding verbal vomiting at all costs. And like I said, every single veteran coach on this call can tell you that they've done it. I can also tell in my business when I get lazy. If I go back and look at messages and I skip from step one and I just go right to 2 and I'm not asking a lot of questions, do I get people to sign up? Absolutely. However, I don't feel as connected with them because I haven't spent that time to really get to know them and who they are. And so you, like I said, you're building that bridge and you want to be relatable. I don't know where my picture went. People do business with people that they like and they trust. And the only way that they are going to, start to trust you is by you relating to them, finding that one thing. So maybe it's that they're a mom who's really struggled with, for instance, I just had a conversation with a lady who was talking about how, she had 3 kids and she gained 100 pounds with one of her kids. But then she didn't get diagnosed with PCOS until after she had a child. I can totally relate to that because that really sums up my life story. I wasn't diagnosed with it until, after I had Landon. And so I could relate to that. I honed in on, hey, here's one thing that we share in common, like you're not alone. And so finding that one thing, maybe it's that they, have a crazy hardworking job and you can relate to that. Finding that one piece of information that you guys are now sympathizing and empathizing together. Because guys, we're in the relationship building business. That's what it is that you're doing. In order for us to help people, you really have to build that relationship with them. And so you want to connect and share with them. So you've gotten them through the questions. You now have their attention. You now related to them. So now you want to share with them. So you connected with them. Now you're sharing stories. So this woman, I could share with her that, listen, I know it's hard with PCOS and it's harder for us to lose weight because it's one of the struggles that we have with that disease. But I can share my story with her and share my success. It's okay if you don't have that specific success with whatever it is that they're going through. If you can find something to relate, to them, and then maybe there's someone on our team that's gone through something similar, you can share that story. I heard a call once where it said that we should be taking in at least 1 to 2 success stories every single week. So I say this all the time, that you guys are a collector of stories. It doesn't matter if you're leading your own challenge group. You're in a challenge group right now. If you see someone post about their success, number one, we're not going to share anything without anyone giving us their approval. But you can easily take what they've said and shared how it was a success. You can blurb out their name if privacy is an issue. You can share that success from our team page. So many coaches on our team have had some amazing success, and you guys have that in your pocket. And then obviously we have the Beachbody Challenge winners. I don't like to share the stock photos, but if you can find the story and see who it is, if you Google that person, more than likely you're going to find pictures from their personal page. And those stories are out there for us to share. And so that's where the screenshots and the pics of testimony are a bonus and just kind of that extra social proof. So if you're not already collecting stories, start doing it now. If you see something posted in one of the challenge groups that's like, hey, this person has awesome success, you have something to connect with every single person you talk to. You just have to make sure that you're utilizing it. It should be going into your toolbox. So now it's time to close. So you've gotten their information, you have a strong recommendation, and on this interview process, I give you exactly what to say and how to say it. You need to assume that they're going to say yes and use words like, when you enroll, you'll want to do X, Y, and Z. I don't know how many coaches I've talked to that go into conversations with people and they're super afraid of them saying no. Well, guys, here's the thing. People are going to say no. You have to detach yourself from the situation and the outcome. It's not about you. It may just be that it's not the right time. It may just be that it's not the fit for them. But when you go in with that belief and that confidence that they're going to say yes, and you speak that, more than likely what happens is they say yes. And so once you get to this process, you are not going to send them your link and say, here, go to my site, find this. Like, I will virtually come through the computer and get you, because we will not ever do that. People want you to lead them. They are confused when you give them too many options. That's why they're coming to you in the first place. So this is where that strong recommendation, gosh dang it, this is really, so that's supposed to say do not squirm, not do not quirm. It's not even a word, but it happens. When we talk about price, okay, if you go into the message and you're to that point where you get to the end and you're ready to, and now they want to know how much it costs, the minute you start to squirm, you're going to pull out that price objection without even knowing it. Unconsciously, you're going to pull it out. You need to believe in the value of what it is that you have to offer, or else it's going to automatically come out. So I don't know how, and I'm guilty of this as well, especially in talking with people maybe from my hometown. I have this, I don't know why, this guilty feeling, and I shouldn't. I know the value in me. I know the value in our products. I know that they work. I know the value in our challenge groups. So there's no reason that I need to justify that. Because a lot of times when I go in with this belief and I have that confidence, I'll have people come back and I'll say, maybe it's a 21-day fixed challenge pack. Oh, really? That's all? Because they've been presented with so many other opportunities that are outrageous. And so when you go in and you look at it that way, they're going to feel that way. And be sincere, y'all. Like, people can tell when we're just trying to sell them something or buy them or get them to buy something. So here's some tips. Never argue with their objections, okay? The objection isn't about you, so don't take it personally. Use the feel, felt, found method. If there's, maybe they're talking about how it's, they're struggling or whatever, talk about how when you started, you struggled as well. But what you realized is in the first 3 weeks of planning, using Shakeology, meal prepping, you saved a lot more money because you weren't going to the gas station every day. You weren't eating out all the time. And you weren't buying extra stuff at the grocery store that was being wasted. Okay, don't be disappointed with a no. Okay, a no doesn't mean a no, it just means a not right now. They're probably either still fearful or it's just not the right time for them. I don't know how many people, and you guys can see my list of people that I've had conversations with that 1 or 2 years later come back and now it's the right time. So even if it's several years later down the road, it's fine. A no, I don't ever cross anyone off of my list. Again, remember, it's not about you, and detach yourself from the outcome. The minute you start detaching yourself from what they're going to say, you're going to feel a lot better. Kiss them. You want to keep it simple, silly. I did not learn this until recently, and the girls had to school me on it, and it was kind of funny. If you give them too much to think about, then you're going to hear them say, let me think about it. So this is where, once you peel back those layers, you have that strong recommendation, you give them that direct information and what it is that they need. Don't give them too many options. Don't send them to your website to look at all the different programs, because you're going to get this when they come back. So for a customer, there's a couple things that you can do. If you get to that point where you're at the end and you're like, all right, I'm closing, here's how the challenge group is going to help them. You can do a couple things. And I really just started implementing one of these, is sharing a video with them. Maybe do a quick video of yourself talking about what a challenge group is and how it's going to benefit them, okay? And why you recommend it. People connect with being able to see you, hear your voice, talking to them. Have now I forgot the word, but you want to let them know that there's limited spots and availability, because there are, like in our challenge groups, we don't want them to be huge. We want to be able to give them one-on-one interaction and really help them help them be successful. So let them know that there's limited spots, that your time is valuable, your group is valuable, and you get to pick the people that you want in it. So they have to earn that spot. They have to say, they have to give you a reason as to why they should be in that group. And you get that by having that conversation with them, by going back and forth, knowing they're going to commit. How many of you, raise your hands, have had challengers where we feel like have done nothing, or have absolutely no commitment? And I look back and I look at my relationship with them and the conversation I had, and it wasn't necessarily where it should have been. So that's somewhere where I lacked, but it happens all the time. So you have that availability to you to pick who you want, and know that you are worth everything that they are getting, and that the group is valuable to them. So here's an example. Once I get to that part, where you are literally giving her, you now said, I love your story. I want to help you. Here's what you told me that you wanted to do. Okay. You want to lose that 15 pounds so that you can rock your summer dresses. I decided, here, I want to, offer you one of my spots. So that's making her feel valuable. That's making her feel like, oh my gosh, I'm excited. She's giving something to me. And I don't know how many times I've had somebody come back and say, thanks, I so appreciate you allowing me to be in your group. Because you guys, this is what you do. So when we know the value of ourselves, then people feel that as well. You tell her how many spots you have left. You go over the details and confirm, that she needs to confirm back right away so that you can make sure that that spot's saved, and because it's going to be, filling on a first serve basis. Here's where you recommend what it is. You give her the info about why you think the 21-day fix is going to be perfect fit for her. And then you can add in the results. Since you're needing these results so quickly, here's, Danielle, she lost 13.5 pounds in 3 weeks. And it says on that picture that she's a new mom too. So I'm talking to a mom who's a new mom. I'm talking to a mom who wants to lose around 15 pounds. I have that success story right here. And I talk about things that she struggled with, how she can still have chocolate and wine because it's built into the program. So then I say, I've already assumed that she's going to join. I've already assumed that she's going to say yes. So now I'm saying, are you near your computer so I can walk you through the enrollment right now? Okay, so I've assumed it, I've said it, she's going to come back and we're going to get her going. But I have that confidence in knowing that she's going to say yes. And if she doesn't, it's okay, because again, I've detached myself from the outcome. It's not about me, it's about them. 80%, like I said, 80% to round out the call, 80% of your time should be spent peeling back the layers. If you're getting a ton of no's, it's because you're not spending enough time doing this process. Forming and signing are your friend. On an average, 1 in 10 people will say yes, and it takes about 3 months to really build your funnel to where it's just feeling like you're consistently spitting out that yes on the end zone. You've got to get comfortable having those conversations and learning what it's like to interview someone. Always work from a list. I am so surprised at the amount of coaches that I talk to on their one-on-ones who tell me that they're just scrolling through their Facebook messages trying to figure out who to talk to. You are a professional, y'all. You are the CEO of your own business. What business do you know that you go into that does not have a list? Okay, if you're not working off of a list, you're not in business. You've got to figure out what works for you and keep track of the people that you talk to. I say this all the time. It's my biggest thing, is that my fortune is in the follow-up, okay? If I'm talking to someone and they've told me that, you know, no, not right now, but check in with them in February, I'm highlighting so that I know when February comes back around, I'm just going to go to my list. I'm going to look at everyone that I've highlighted, and I already have a list created to check into. I keep a list of 20 people on my whiteboard in front of me each week that I am talking to. So if I'm talking with someone, I get in a conversation and I know that I need to follow up with them, they go on my list so that when I sit down for that power hour, I see them right in front of me. You can create an interest list on Facebook. If you haven't done this, I really highly suggest you, play around with it. And I'll post a video on how to create your interest list. But you can create a list of potential coaches and customers to stay connected with, so that when you click on that list, it just brings up those people. So it's a lot easier when you sit down for your power hour and you're supposed to be connecting and commenting and liking people's photos and statuses. You have them all right there in one place. So you're not scrolling through your Facebook newsfeed trying to figure out who to comment on. Always be willing to offer something free advice, time, or resources like a free meal plan. You want to be their go-to person when they're ready. I can't tell you the value in offering free stuff to people. I share meal plans, I share tips, I share tricks. I've had other challengers come and ask me questions and they're with another coach. I don't care, because I'm offering them value. And in the end, what that does, again, this is where that servant's heart comes in. It comes back to me tenfold. And so, figure out what that is. You guys have access to a whole bunch of different meal plans. Take one of those, use them, make them your own, and offer it as a free resource, okay? And like I said, never cross someone off your list until they've signed up. So I know that we only have a minute left, and I'm going to stop recording.